everybody to the Secret Stage Saturday stream. I am Ramses. I am taking over for this stream today. And I am playing I'm gonna play a game that I've been obsessing over just as Miguel has been obsessing over Castle of Darkness over the last couple of weeks. I am playing a lot of Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, so we're gonna be playing that for the rest of the evening. Hopefully if anybody else wants to join, they can join up. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell anybody else that we're live. And like I said, like you read the message on the down below, scrolling text on below. You can find us on various websites such as on Twitter, which is at SR_Secret Stage. You can find us on Facebook, which is at Secret Stage Games. YouTube at Secret Stage Games as well. And if you want to see, you want to hear our podcast and any other of our cool stuff that we do, you can find us at http://www.scarlet-rhapsody.com. Whew, that's a mouthful. All right. Yes, thank you for pro. Yes, I know this is. Look, Helios, I'm gonna say this to you right now. If you want us to get a better rig, please donate to whatever thing we got so far, so we can get like a better rig.
We've got nothing, Ramses.
We have nothing for people to donate to. I guess send a PM on the Twitter with your credit card information, and we'll just use it to buy stuff.
Send your money via Western Union.
Yeah.
And also send us a telegram while you're at it. I haven't had a telegram in ever.
Telegram for Ramses.
All right. So with that said, just to give you guys a little bit of like history before I start going online, I'm barely at level 3. I'm barely at hunter level 3. But let's just say we're 2 weeks in and already people are already like G ranked, and it's like I'm like way behind on everything. So
it's because you've been obsessing over getting specific armors. Now, granted, the image of your player character looks pretty friggin' awesome.
Yeah, because that's what you get for killing the Gore Mangala for. I don't know. That's what you get for killing multiple Gore Mangalas. And also, I'm gonna try some of the new DLC, but since I can't access like the higher ranked stuff, I won't be able to access the Zelda things, unfortunately, unless someone is playing it. What's up?
So you got to be a super high level person to get to the DLC.
Yeah, because you need to be already on G rank to start with those missions. And I saw some of the missions like I don't think I'm ready for that just yet. Well, not solo at least. So I'm gonna do my best to start leveling myself up here so I can be at G rank hopefully soon. Like I said, if anybody wants to join, just say so in the chat. I have the chat window open right here as well. So if anybody wants to join up with me, I'll post the information as soon as possible. So with that in mind, let's get started.
Oh, that's an update for Azure Striker Gunvolt.
Yeah, it's actually an update. Actually, lets you play the deal. That actually lets you use the 3DS new 3DS XL capabilities.
Who the fuck are you, and why are you contacting me specifically?
Oh, I think cute. It's little hearts. Jared is off playing Pokemon Shuffle. I'm off playing stuff on the 3DS. Now, only if Jared and I owned a copy of Monster Hunter 4, we'd play with you.
No, I wouldn't. I'd still be playing Pokemon Shuffle. That game is freaking addicting.
I'm sorry for turning you on that game.
Yeah. Well, the moment that it became like my grand champion that kept me with it is that right now they have a special event where you can get Mew. My second time, I think it was my first time beating Mew, it's like, you have a 10% chance of catching Mew. And I was like, well, this isn't going to work. I clicked it and I caught him, and I'm like, yeah. That's why I cosplay as Giovanni, bitches. I one-shotted Mew. Thank you much. I will take my high-level rare psychic and use him to be adorable. Most adorable legendary of them all.
The thing is,
Fuck you, Victini. You're not cute. Your stupid ears.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you heard
say,
me. I'm calling out Victini.
I'm
Not
gonna say
anyway.
this. I'm gonna say this right now. I've been playing that game as well,
Yeah.
and Mew is incredibly hard to use.
Yeah. Well, the bonus is a 5 blocker, which doesn't have, but Mew does a lot of damage, and you don't have psychics that early on. Like now, I have a bunch where I technically could switch Mew out if I just started leveling up, like my Chingling or something. But since psychics aren't particularly common, it's nice to have. I wish I could have gotten more of the Rotoms. I only got 2 of the Rotoms. So I
I
was
got
like,
all
no.
3 of the Rotoms.
So I got the fire one and I got the grass one. I was like, or I got the water and the no, I got the flying. I got the flying and the grass one. And I would have really fire. I don't need. I have way too many fire types, but the water one would have been nice. And the electric one you have to get via the. I can't do the timer maps. I suck at those. Like I'm always. If you see me go through even on the simplest of puzzles, I take time to go through them because I'm always thinking through every step. So on the time ones, I just start like panicking because I'm like, no, I need to think about stuff. I can't do this like Twitch action, like continuously dropping combos. So as much as I would like to have Lucario or the Electric Rotom and stuff like that, I'm just like, and freaking Articuno and Moltres and Zapdos are all there, and I'm like, I want you guys, man. Me not so good with timing things. Make me brain not work so well. Because as it turns out, folks, I'm a deep thinker, not a on my feet thinker. So.
So chess is more your speed, but not
I haven't played chess in forever.
I haven't played chess in a long time either.
And I have that nice chess set for you.
In fact, bought me a nice chess set too.
Oh fuck me! We're doing a hunting mission. All right, time to.
What kind of mission were you expecting to do? Yet another like fetch quest? Screw that, man.
Well, no, it's just like means it means I gotta keep the monster alive.
Oh, the catching missions.
Yeah.
Oh wait, are you a catching mission or a killing mission?
No, we're in a capturing mission. I'm like, why did I pick this? But oh well.
So Ramsey, why haven't you reached G rank yet?
Because I'm not because I like getting armor sets.
Yeah, and he obsesses over having a complete set of armor.
Have you seen the stream? Don't you see I look like Ultron now?
Yeah, but you now need to get to G rank to get the Zelda armor.
But here's the thing: what if the Zelda armor sucks? What if I want to get like a Zygon armor? The Zygon armor rules because like it has protection over like electricity.
I'd rather get the Hero Sword and Shield combo.
That's because you're a fanboy, though.
Speaking of which, I actually picked up Sheik today.
Yeah, well, you're a few days behind me, Ramses. All I need to wait for is another Ganondorf amiibo.
All I know is I'm heading back to California, and I'm going to use it as an excuse to stop by the Toys R Us and come back with like amiibos I have no system to use on. But I'll have them on my desk. I'll be like, I have amiibos. They're adorable. I will stop by the GameStop and get me a Shulk, which I doubt I'll be able to find.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to find a Shulk.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
So how many kidneys do you have there, Jared?
Oh, don't worry. I'm just going to wait for someone else to buy it, and then I'm just going to like mug them.
No, still, how many kidneys do you have?
Okay,
They're gonna take them.
I don't want your wallet. I just want this toy. Okay, bye. You sure? I have like several $100s in my wallet. Yeah, I'm cool. I got the toy I wanted.
I really feel
Wait. Next to Ninja.
Now, I know as much as I love the Zelda franchise, just because they have an armor set in Monster Hunter 4 does not make me want to go out and buy it.
Not yet.
I
Period.
want to get into it, but it's. I get the feeling that the new 3DS would just make playing it a lot easier. But I'm waiting for a few more titles to make buying another system worth it. Especially when there's like, consoles, home console stuff I want to have.
Don't utilize the 3D, because it doesn't work.
Pokemon Shuffle? It should.
It doesn't work.
I've never even activated. I haven't even attempted to activate my 3D on it. I just assumed it was a puzzle game.
I have my 3D on and it doesn't work. I see no difference.
I didn't think there was supposed to be one. I just assumed it was one of those games that didn't change anything. But if you have the older 3DS, it'll have the little light on that tells you when like there's a 3D segment. So, which I do like about the older models versus the XL that does not have that little light. Because then I don't have to have that question of, wait, is this supposed to be a 3D segment or not, or what, or
Oh, you kidding me? Okay, fine. Let's see. This is what I want. I want a 2DS that can capture my game, and I can use my 360 controller on. So let's make that happen, people. I need $500 for this.
that sounds like a homebrew there.
Because I want to keep this 3DS as for my legit C's, I'm gonna do stuff play it. While I have that one for streaming reasons. I'm gonna be like, oh, let's stream this.
It'd be fun for just streaming handheld games, anyways.
Yeah.
Because how many people really do that?
Well, unless I'm getting better at it. Hopefully.
Well, it's trial and error. Now, like I said, I'm still forget Ramsey's a GoPro, but that's me.
See life through
the eyes of Ramses.
It's just
This is
me
kinda
staring at the
boring.
wall.
That was gonna be my joke. It's just someone watching the live stream. This is really boring, and it just shows a wall. God, how much Saint Seiya manga does this guy read in a day?
How much JoJo can someone get this guy another comic book other than JoJo, for God's sakes?
Hey, I've been reading JoJo. I just finished Series 5 yesterday. Or,
You saw how fabulous, from the skeleton one of fabulous, how do you feel?
Yesterday was maybe it was Thursday, I think. It was either Thursday or yesterday. I can't remember. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, I don't know. I have issues with the ending. When it goes into a 3-chapter flashback that serves almost no purpose, and then we have our 2-page epilogue, I'm like, those 3 chapters could have been used as epilogue. Because as a writer, I'm the multi-chapter epilogue guy. I'm with Tolkien.
Well,
where it's
fuck
like,
you. Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
have a
have
30-minute ending at the end of my fucking movie.
chapters
Hey! Sup?
No, you go to my book I just submitted. The epilogue is 6 chapters long.
Well, never mind. I'm gonna keep quiet on that one.
I know. I'm a dick.
No, I'm gonna say, well, I know what book I'm not gonna read, but that's really
it
dickish.
It doesn't say epilogue and then it's 6 chapters. It's just if you're cutting the book into pieces, the last part that's wrapping up the story is made up of 6 chapters. The previous book it's made up of 4. So yeah, that's just the kind of writer I am, folks. I get very Tolkienish sometimes, where I have to tie up every loose end because otherwise it'll drive me insane. So when I see someone do hey, this is supposed to be the epilogue, but here's a backstory thing that talks about the fatalistic kind of overarching theme of Series 5 is very fatalist. And so here's 3 chapters that are basically going to pound that into your head, which is nice. I mean, it's fine. But that time could have been used to explain what happens to Trish after everything was over. What happened to Mista, etc. What happened to these guys? What they ended up doing? Where they end up going? All we get is a one shot of Giorno and Mista and Trish hanging out in their mafia throne room, and that's the end. And I'm like, but I could have written so much about these characters. And then I read the first 3 chapters of Stone Ocean, and I was like, I'm a little JoJo'd out, but I totally want to check out Sexy Women's Prison.
It's a Skinemax film.
That's exactly what's going through my mind. I'm like, oh my god, every single dirty women's prison movie is going through my head right now.
It's I saw this in a scrambled cable television once.
Yeah. You have rope powers, you say. How many doujinshis are built around you, Jolene? Because between the rope and the prison, I'm seeing some very kinky themes here.
No, with the poison. Get out. Okay, good.
But I needed to take a break and read me some American comics, so I was reading some Star Wars today.
How is the new Star Wars books?
I really like them. There's 3 series right now. There's 2 ongoings and then 1 miniseries.
Yeah, I know that. I know. You were talking about Leia on Twitter.
Yeah, well, I talked about all 3 at this point because it just when I got things finished. Original Star Wars or whatever you want to call it, just Star Wars. I
Yeah.
really like it. It's
I
just a fun adventure with the rebels and just watching Darth Vader just pwn the hell out of people. It's just like that level from Force Unleashed, which I made reference to on Twitter. And writer of the series, Jason Aaron, responded to my tweet saying that yes, he has played the game, but he wasn't thinking about that while writing the Vader scenes, which is perfectly fine. I mean, you know, you just want Vader to be a badass. That's the thing that always feels missing, is that everyone fears Vader, but you've never seen any, other than his choking thing, you've never really seen him be a massive threat that people would really piss their pants over. It's not a huge spoiler, but there's a part where there's a very large machine, and Vader just tears it apart with the Force.
Base to charge yours, huh?
And I'm just like, there you go. He's tearing apart with the Force. He's like just throwing around stormtroopers and rebels and stuff like that, like as if they're rag dolls. And I'm like, there you go. This is how Vader's supposed to be. He's a threat. He could easily kill. He even tells Luke confronts him and doesn't say who he is. He just like, you killed my father and Obi-Wan. And he's like, who are you? And then he's just like, boy, put that lightsaber down before you hurt yourself. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because to Vader, some 19-year-old with a lightsaber is just a freaking joke. It's just, come on. I slaughtered an entire race of people. Well, me and my clones slaughtered an entire race of people. Who the hell do you think you are? And I really like that. It's just a good series, and the next issue comes out next Wednesday, so I'm looking forward to that. The Princess Leia one is a lot like the Dark Horse Princess Leia if it was more competently handled. And don't get me wrong, I liked the Dark Horse Star Wars series that they started in 2013. It was very Princess Leia centric, which I was fine with, but it made no logical sense. Because in that one, I mean, this is essentially the beginning. Mon Mothma, yes, Leia? I'm really, really, really pissed off at the Empire for blowing up Alderaan. I want to go out and kill Imperials. Okay, Leia, here's an X-Wing squadron. That's it? I could just get my X-Wing squadron killed? Yes, but bear in mind, there is a traitor, and it will be completely blatantly obvious who it is, because it's the only other character we focus on in your squadron other than you and Luke and Wedge. And it just like, and like I didn't continue past that arc. Maybe it got better, but it felt like a Leia fanfic. And look, nothing wrong with that. I like Princess Leia too. She's a great character, but at no point in the entirety of anything expanded universe has it ever gone into Princess Leia being a pilot. And granted, her X-Wing does get pretty damn trashed multiple times in the issues I read. It still seems like the world's stupidest decision to put a major important figurehead, you know, one of the last surviving people from Alderaan, in harm's way. Politically, she's just so much more useful being this person who can stand up saying, I'm Princess Leia Organa of the House of Alderaan. My entire family, friends, and everything I ever knew were wiped out. Is that the empire you want to live in? Dude, as a propaganda tool, she's amazing. Why the hell would you do that?
Alright, you kind of sold me on this one, because like, I was thinking about picking up some comic books, because like they just started the Combiner Wars arc in the comic books of Transformers.
Oh, I need to get you on that one, because I saw the Humble Bundle for Transformers comics, and I need to discuss that with you when you're not gaming. We can do it.
I can do it right now, because the thing is, it's really simple. Basically, Starscream fucks up, and he pretty much instigates the Combiner Wars.
Well, Combiners, I don't think we're part of the Humble Bundle, but we'll get to that when I get to that. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah. Well, that's basically what ends up happening. Like, they're like, Starscream, you know what? You may have just instigated, like, Galactic War 3, and now we have the Combiners here ready to take out. So, while we take care of this, you know, you take care of this. We'll take care of this mess too, okay? Oh, thanks a lot.
So here's this is why the Marvel version is better and on the Princess Leia side of things. Basically, it goes like this. General Dodonna, yes, Leia? I hate the Empire for blowing up my planet. I want a squadron. No. What do you mean, no? Oh, the Empire's like hunting down people from Alderaan because they think they're all supporters of the rebellion. Oh, right, and you're one of the last survivors, and as a political, you have more political value alive than getting killed in an X-wing. So no, you can't do that. Go and mourn like a sane person, and we'll discuss things when enough time has passed. Screw that noise. I'm gonna go steal a ship and go rescue the Alderaan people that they're rounding up. And I'm like, yes, thank you. This makes sense. If she's gonna do something reckless and stupid, she should do it behind people's backs, not with the express consent of the fucking rebellion. Are you insane? Why would you let someone as valuable as Princess Leia lead an X-wing squadron?
Like, I can see the logic of them trying to do it at the time, but then again, I think too they were like, well, let's see. Like, they're at the time they were like, let's see what we can get away with this. Now that
what they wanted was to lead a strong female character, lead a Star Wars book, which is perfectly fine. And there's ways to do a good Princess Leia story, and Marvel is doing that. And that's the one I would say, honestly, wait on, because it's a miniseries, so it's only going to be 5 issues, and you can just grab the trade in like a couple months.
yeah.
And I don't mean, like, I know people say, like, hey, you're telling people not to buy comics. No, I'm specifically telling people to buy comics. I'm just saying it's a miniseries. Miniseries, I find, are often best read in a row versus issue to issue, because while, like, an ongoing, a lot can happen, and some of these series are, the Darth Vader's had 2 issues already. I mean, they came out, like, 2 weeks apart. They're moving the Vader series pretty quick. So I don't know if that's not going to be long lasted, or they're planning on doing 2 issues a month, or what's going on with the Vader one. But with the Leia one, I'm like, you know what? By my birthday, the trade's going to be out. So my birthday's in May, folks. So get ready on that whole sending me gifts, internet.
And may the force be with you.
Yep.
Because,
Yeah, Star Wars Day, baby.
You're on Star Wars Day, May 4th. So.
Best birthday ever.
Hey, Jared.
So Jared, have you watched any Star Wars Rebel stuff?
I have watched all the way to the end of season 1.
That final episode, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to discuss it, and I'm like, oh my god, so many spoilers, cannot discuss via internet.
It's alright. We only have 2 viewers here, and I don't think it'll matter.
I don't mind.
Viewers post that you don't care about spoilers, so like, I don't.
Okay,
like
so I'm one of the viewers, so that means Savage Helios, you may have to. You're the determining factor. Do you want spoilers, yes or no? He'll come back to us in like about 15 minutes.
Well, we can wait, but the Darth Vader one, I'm sure you said you saw my. I don't know if you saw my thing on Twitter about that one. I think visually it's really cool, and I think it's decently well written. It's just not. I don't know. Maybe I've never. Okay, maybe this is my own personal hang-up, so I will explain my hang-up first, and maybe that's what's holding me back on this series. I've always had an issue with comic books that are from the villain's perspective. I don't know why. Like, I like anti-hero stories. I liked the Punisher comics. I haven't read them in a while, but I've liked certain runs of the Punisher, and I've liked what's another anti-hero book? Some Ghost Rider that I've read was pretty decent. Venom, I liked old school Venom, and even I guess Flash Thompson Venom wasn't as much of an anti-hero. So I've had a few anti-hero books over the years that I've enjoyed, but whenever it's like Suicide Squad, I like Suicide Squad. A couple of runs of that I thought were pretty decent. Some were terrible, but in general, I'm not hugely fond of villain-themed books, because watching a person just go and do wanton acts of destruction for the sake of their own gain is not the most entertaining thing in the world to me. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. You're a psychotic killer. Good for you.
That's the thing. It's like the only time that's actually pretty good is if they're soldiers of fortune, like Deathstroke.
Yeah, Deathstroke worked because he had the whole mercenary angle.
But Savage Helios says he doesn't care, or she doesn't care, so it's like spoilers away.
Okay, so I'll finish my thing on Darth Vader, and then we can talk Rebels. So it is nice to see Darth Vader kind of be a badass, which he is. Anytime he's out like fighting or whatever, it is pretty cool. It is I think it's just the rule in Marvel is make him as close to the version from Force Unleashed from that one level as possible. Yeah, one level. You mean the tutorial? I'm like, yes, make him tutorial version.
Let him throw
Freaks.
Wookiees around.
Yep, you just launch Wookiees like nothing, just destroy everything, have at it. And it's one of those things where I think that's just kind of the rule is we want Vader to be as awesome as possible, and I'm fine with that. Where my issue comes in is that the story's just not that interesting. Like, the first issue is a lot of... Basically, it's half the issue is Vader on this one mission to see Jabba the Hutt, and then the other half of the issue is a flashback of the Emperor basically telling him off for letting the Death Star blow up. And I'm like, exciting.
So it's like that Robot Chicken sketch, but not funny.
Yes. And it's not supposed to be funny. I mean, it's the Emperor. He's supposed to be threatening and evil, and
yeah, but the thing is, when I imagine, go on.
Vader screwed up, and Tarkin screwed up as well. Actually, Tarkin was really arrogant about how awesome his battle station was.
Yeah, but the thing is, too, it's like, go on.
It's just they didn't think about putting a freaking vent on putting like a a sealed vent thing on the exhaust port. but
then they're gonna suffocate in space.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of it. It's just no way to make it work. It's just it's a scenario. Sir, we're either gonna suffocate or they can blow us up. Oh man, I guess we'll just what are the odds that they'll figure out to blow us up with this one little exhaust port? Or I don't know. How about not having your exhaust port direct? I don't know. What fix that design flaw?
Space air.
Shields, energy shield. That was their solution in Return of the Jedi was energy shield. And I'm like, good, bravo.
At least I learned a lesson.
You learned your lesson. So understandably so, and then like issue 2 is Vader under the command of this general guy, and they're going and fighting some rebels, and it's the only exciting part of it is that the rebels send out a few of those what do you call them? The rolly droids that put on the shields and have the double lasers that they fight in the beginning of episode 1.
Oh, combat droids?
Yeah, but they're the heavy ones that have like the shield and they have like the 2 gun arms.
Yeah.
And they roll around like little Sonic the Hedgehogs, and then they come out of their little roll.
Actually, that's actually kind of cool. It's like, here, let's use stuff in the in the Great Rebellion years from like the Clone War years.
Yeah, it's just I guess they happen to have spares of those. And like, you know what? Let's just put these to use.
Yeah, it's like that's actually a good idea.
So it's kind of cool seeing those, and Vader just like not even flinching. He's just like, good tactic. He's watching stormtroopers get slaughtered, and he's just like, and one of the guys like, are you gonna do anything? He's like, well, I can't stop that missile with my lightsaber. it's just Vader being a dick. I'm like, it reminded me of if anyone's ever seen the little internet re-edit of just Darth Vader as a dick.
Oh yeah.
And it's him in the little capsule thing from Empire Strikes Back, and it's like Lord Vader. She just closes the thing, and he's like, the guy like steps back, and then Vader opens the thing. He's like, Lord Vader, and then he closes it again. I'm not doing this little re-edit justice, but it really kind of was Vader being a dick, and I did enjoy that segment, but I don't know. It's just
I'm just imagining I'm imagining Darth Vader in the back of his head. It's like I fought these like no more than like 10 years ago. These guys are like tissue paper.
19 years ago.
Yeah, like 19 years ago, I fought these motherfuckers in mass, and I literally sneezed and they blew up.
Yeah, it's just I do kind of like that moment, but I don't know. They need something deeper for me right now to really get me to stick with this. And like I said, it might just be one of those, hey, I'm not really into villain-themed books, because I really can't think of any villain-themed book I've ever really enjoyed other than Suicide Squad. And even then, I gave up on Suicide Squad, because the 52 version I gave up after a certain point.
I didn't blame you.
Just, I don't know, certain ways certain characters get treated that just, I'm like, Plus, the biggest flaw of the Suicide Squad for 52 is that no one actually died. So, character would die, and then, like, in the next book, it's like, it's like, oh, we've given you proper medical treatment. I'm like, dude took a bullet to the head. Yep, and with proper medical treatment, he's fine. I'm like, that's not how that works. I don't care what kind of like semi-physics you have in your comic book verse. A bullet to the head is still a bullet to the head. If Deadshot friggin' shoots you in the head, you're not allowed to like the next like a week later go like, oh man, that minor headache Deadshot gave me after shooting me in the head. That was a minor irritation. Like, no, it's not how that works.
Big $100 bill.
Bad, stupid comic book.
Ah!
That's horrible.
Oh yeah, and then they turned Harley Quinn into a whore. I mean, you know, whatever.
Oddly enough, I'm liking her solo book. Is there something wrong with me?
It's too Deadpool for my taste. I flipped through issue 1. It just seemed very Deadpool-y. So if you're into Deadpool, you know, types of shenanigans, then I'm sure you'd really enjoy it. That's not my
Yeah, it's
I
not
just
your cup
don't-
of tea. I know you don't like
Yeah.
Deadpool, so it's like,
yeah.
but then it's like
It
for me.
reminded me of that, and so yeah, just
I think there's this one set of panels floating around I like where I guess Lobo punches her and she basically knocks him through a wall, saying she's not going to take it and abused anymore.
huh. What is it? It could have gotten better. I don't know.
Like,
Just
part, like, scene with her character, like the part where we find out Black Canary's having a baby.
I like how characters aren't allowed to get married, but characters can get pregnant.
Well,
Oh, DC, you and your really screwed up thoughts about.
No. I think I climbed through walls. What the fuck?
Black Canary and Harley are fighting, and then Black Canary tells her, like, we need to stop, and she's like, I'm gonna be sick, and Harley's like, are you pregnant? And she's laughing, and then she explains, she's like, oh, I understand. And she's like, and it basically turns out that she had gotten pregnant and left for a year and ended up and had a little girl, and she ended up giving it to her sister. So her sister's raising her and the Joker's kid.
Oh,
Oh, fuck me.
And she said that apparently her sister, like the whole thing is like, she's a smart, happy little girl. Her sister's, you know, just. And then later on, they showed another set of panels floating around where Harley comes and visits Black Canary in the hospital after she had the baby. She says, oh, you know, I just told them that I was your sister and they're way too trusting. And she was giving her presents. And she gave her a muzzle,
Oh yeah.
that panel. And she's like, and Black Canary's like, he's a baby, not a dog. And she says, well, you know, you've got your sonic screeching powers, and what's going to happen, you know, he'll probably inherit it from you, and what's going to happen once he starts howling, you know, screaming. And Black Canary's like, give a muzzle. And I also like the part where basically it shows her and Lobo having a fight. And I guess he had punched her and she was sitting there and she says, you know, I just got out of an abusive relationship and I'm, you know, finally dealing with the idea that I'm not going to be with the Joker anymore. And I finally decided after all this, I'm not going to take anybody's abuse anymore. And she sends Lobo through a wall.
is this like old school muscle Lobo or new school like thin lanky Lobo?
I think
Thin,
it's
lanky Lobo.
Thin, lanky Lobo.
It's new school,
I
but he's
hate
still
him.
muscular. He's not huge, but it's still obviously Lobo. It's more not so bulky.
I know.
Like,
I like
just
bulky
give him
ones.
the orange suit and just tell him that it's like the 1980s Lobo.
But, like regardless, you know, I was thinking about that as you were talking, Becky, and I realized, like, you know, there are some villain books, like Gotham City Sirens, certain runs of Catwoman, and Harley and Ivy, that I'm like, okay, there have been some decent villain books, usually female-led, that I've actually kind of enjoyed. But
So,
I don't know.
Jared,
For the most part, I'm not into the villain books, and I'm not into the irreverent comedy books, unless it's something that's like a Simpsons comic or something.
Yeah, it was
You know?
designed to be it was designed from the very beginning to be a comic book like that.
Technically, Deadpool and Harley Quinn are both meant to be comedic too. It's just I don't know. I guess I don't like my superhero stories comedic, or I mean, they need funny moments is fine. Like
Right here. That's right.
there's been some
stand
good,
right there, right by the trap. That's what you need to do. Sorry, keep going.
There's been some good runs of certain comics I can think of where I'm like, okay, like Christos Gage when he was working on Avengers Academy. I believe it was Avengers Academy years ago. he put some really good comedic moments in there. I was kind of mixed on the most recent run of Young Avengers, but there were some really good comedic moments in there. You know, I like a comic that can make me laugh while I'm reading it, but I don't necessarily want like Animaniacs level humor going on in my comic book, unless I'm specifically reading an Animaniacs comic. If that makes any sense to anyone.
Yep.
Like I don't know why the zany cartoony humor just doesn't work for me in comic book form for some reason.
Jesus Christ. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
But I've liked some comedic, comic books and stuff like that. I just like the humor to be woven into a strong story. And whenever they do the superhero comedy book, there's usually no story. It's usually the character just doing something asinine. You know, it's like, I'm Deadpool. I'm gonna go to Florida.
Canada.
I'm gonna go to Florida and I'm gonna surf. And then he just kills a bunch of mutants in Florida for some reason. Like not mutants like, X-Gene mutants, but mutants like, slime blob monster things. So
Like
he comes
Tar
across some
Baby.
he comes across weird tar monsters on the beach, kills all the tar monsters, and then ends the thing on a surfboard drinking a margarita going like, woo, Florida! And I'm like, yay, Deadpool went surfing, woo. Saved a bunch of people on accident. It's great. Yay.
His name's Steve.
No.
So, yeah, just...
This is not gonna work. So let's see how it works.
it
I'm right here.
makes
Come on.
It's a taste thing.
So Jared,
Yes.
we got distracted.
Well, because we got in that long diatribe about comics,
Yeah.
which does happen with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually liked Tarkin showing up. I thought that was cool. I like the fact that they're really trying to build up Tarkin as this very imposing figure, because between the book, the Tarkin novel that recently came out, and those last 3 episodes of Tarkin, you really see how like almost everyone pisses their pants around this guy. And I like that. I like that usage for the character. Because
Oh my god, are you serious?
you can tell in the original Star Wars movie that all the other Imperial people really respected the guy. And he's a guy who basically, other than one minor oversight on a space station, everything else really went according to plan in his life, more or less. And, to be honest, if he had just evacuated when he was told to evacuate, he would have survived the destruction of the Death Star. In which case, the Emperor probably would have electrocuted him to death. But he would have survived the Death Star.
Yep.
He would have lived like a week longer. Well, you see, Emperor, shut up, Tarkin. Bzzz. What did we learn? Don't build a giant space station? Exactly. So what's our next plan?
Don't
We're
build
building
these.
another one.
So let's build another one.
My defense has always been, whenever someone says, like, why did they build another one? I'm like, they were probably building multiple. You can't have the galaxy is huge. You're telling me they can have one Death Star that can just be, everywhere at once? No, you're going to need multiple. They were probably working on 2, and then once those 2 were operational and doing stuff, they probably would have worked on their 3rd and 4th. But, you wouldn't put all your eggs into one basket. That'd just be retarded.
It's like I'm
But
pretty
it-
sure. It's like Disneyland. Well, you expected Walt Disney to build more.
Yeah.
But yeah, what you think about all the stuff though? All the stuff that led up to that finale.
I really liked. I kind of like how Ezra's been growing, but I like the fact that you can kind of tell that Ezra is very, very like on that cusp of the dark side.
Yeah.
And I kind of dig that as a character. And it makes sense. He's a teenager. You're gonna abuse your power. I mean, I don't think there's any teenage boy alive who, when if he got turned down by a girl, would just do the mind trick and be like, "You want to go on that date with me? I want to go on that date with you.
Yes.
I'll pick you up at 8. You'll pick me up at 8. See you later. See you later." Like, that's a horrible thing to do, but I'd find a teenage boy who just got rejected and see how quickly they use the mind trick to change that rejection into an acceptance. But I like the fact that when I loved seeing those probe droids again. I love that weird noise they make. That noise. Probe droids. Something about that noise I always thought was cool. I don't know why. And the fact that Ezra's just all like, animal, attack the droid. I'm just like, that is a power in the expanded universe called Dominate Mind, which is the next level up of the mind trick. It's the I'm gonna just basically make you go and attack something or do something you would be against your standard behavior because I'm just using the Force to control your mind. And hell, it's a move that Starkiller uses in Force Unleashed too. And it's really, really, really disturbing when you think about what that person is actually doing to another living being. And it works, but it's the second time he's kind of done that and controlled, animals to do basically his evil bidding. And I kind of like that, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to go some direction where Ezra turns dark side, like the end of the series or something. Just because the rebellion, when Luke was around, it didn't have any other Jedi, which means that Kanan and Ezra either have to die or go into exile or go dark side or something. So I didn't think they were going to kill Kanan off, even though they were torturing him and the Inquisitor was generally kicking his ass most of this whole season. I was like, we're not going to kill Kanan off just yet because, well, one, they're releasing a Kanan comic, so you're not going to go and kill off a character who you're going to tell the backstory of in comic book form. And so, but I liked how you could kind of how they worked Kanan was actually really smart. Where in the beginning he seems like he's really competent and knows everything, and then when you realize he's not as good of a Jedi as he lets everyone think he is, like he just doesn't correct people. They're like, "Oh man, you must have been really badass to survive the Clone Wars." Yeah, sure, why not? And then having that little sequence in his torture segment is just like, how did you survive? Did you run away like a coward? I bet you did, and you left your master to die, and it's like, it's totally what happened, and it's just like, oh.
Yeah.
And if you go into the book, A New Dawn, which is how Kanan met Hera, it's really them meeting and working together for the first time. There's a lot of segments in Kanan's part where he's just like, oh, I haven't used, basically in his mind, it's like, oh, I need to save that person, and I accidentally used the Force to do it. Crap, if the Empire sees that, they're gonna kill me. Like, I have to stop using the Force on reflex. I have to remember, I'm not a Jedi, I'm just a regular person, just a regular schlub, I have a job, not wearing some stupid robe, I haven't touched my lightsaber in years. And just seeing that whole, what he put himself through mentally in order to not be a Jedi anymore. And he realized that this whole season has been him trying to do the exact opposite. It's like, okay, I got to train a kid. I got to kind of put my stuff together and do this right. And I love all the training segments. Every time they have an Ezra and Kanan training segment, it is just awesome in my book. I love it because you could just see the frustration of someone who barely knows how to be a Jedi teaching someone who knows nothing about it, and just how awkward things are. Or even the little stuff like, him quoting the Yoda's do or do not, there is no try, to which Ezra goes, but if I don't try, then how can I do? It's like, yeah, it made more sense when Yoda said it.
Yeah. Don't try, do. It's like, but...
Yeah. More sense when Yoda said it. And speaking of Yoda, I liked Frank Oz coming in as Yoda for the lightsaber episode.
Yeah,
I liked the Temple episode. That was a great episode. Like, I kind of already saw the gimmick of what was going on immediately because of my knowledge of the expanded universe. I was just like, oh, all this is in his head, or this is an illusion because that's how this works. Yeah. He's doing the same thing that Yoda did with Luke when he's like, Luke's like, what's in that cave? Whatever you bring with you. And then Luke fights Vader because he thinks it's Vader, and then it's like, oh crap, that's my face. And metaphor, and metaphor and foreshadowing. It's meta-foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And so I liked that, and I'm like, I saw it coming, and I'm sure there's people who didn't, but I totally did. But I liked that episode, and just both of them are going on their own spiritual journeys in completely different ways, and dealing with their internal angst in very different ways. And then they follow that up like an episode or two later with freaking Lando. Freaking Billy D. Williams as Lando. And
Yeah.
it was filler, but it was fun filler.
Like, that's how you do filler. It's like, look, if you're gonna do filler, put at least something. At least put some effort to actually entertain everyone.
Well, because a lot of episodes I thought were filler ended up like, like the one where they steal the TIE fighter, but then that pays off in the season finale.
Yeah.
There's stuff like that where they've had those things that seem like they're filler, but then they end up not being. Or they have some good character development, like that one. Oh no, even that even paid off, where they have Hera and Sabine are trapped on that planet with the little monsters, the little monsters who hide in the dark. But
Yeah.
what I like to call the Pitch Black episode. And in the Pitch Black episode, I'm like, oh, well, that was, you learn a little bit more about Sabine, talking a little bit about her backstory, and, Hera opening up about a little bit of stuff, giving us some hints about who Fulcrum could possibly be and stuff like that.
Which a lot
And I'm
of
like, well,
Hey, it's our old friend Marcy who
I was
joined us
one
the
of the
last
people who-
time.
I
How's it
guessed
going?
right about Fulcrum as well, actually.
And
Yeah,
also,
I was-
a
hello
lot
to.
of people guessed it was who it was.
Yeah, I was
It's
one
like,
of them.
Fulcrum is this. It's got to be Anakin's apprentice from Clone Wars. It has to be. I mean,
Yep.
who else is it?
Well, because Hisoka didn't die. Like, we never saw her die, and it's never been referenced in any expanded universe stuff of to how Hisoka died. So we all just assumed she survived. And if she survived, then she'd be one of the key people to start the rebellion because that's in her personality. That was the reason she got booted out of the military, is because she was just too much of a rebellious pain in the ass to deal with. So of course she would be leading a rebellion. And it was kind of cool seeing the older version of her too, with her face markings being slightly different and her horns and tail thingies being a little bit longer. And I'm like, oh, I like this older version of you. It's like, it's been 10 years. You would grow up a little bit.
15, actually.
Oh, is it 15 years?
Yeah,
I can't remember how much. Oh, right, because it's whatever Ezra's birthday. 'cause they
Yeah,
make reference to
yeah.
Ezra's birthday.
Ezra was born on Empire Day.
Yeah. So that's the easiest way to tell when that series takes place. You're right, because he turns 15. So yes,
Yeah.
it's been 15 years since the rise of the Empire. So
So that would also mean that Luke and Leia should be at 15 as well.
yep. Yeah, because they share a birthday.
I'm actually really happy that you brought her in. Like, that was actually one of the best things. It's like, I really like that character. Like, I actually really like Ahsoka in the original series. So it's like, I'm happy that they brought her in. But it's like, I don't know. Like, see, I wonder how long the shelf life's gonna be with this character.
I just
I
like.
think-
I
well,
just
here's
like
the thing with
Ezra
her.
built his lightsaber. How he built his lightsaber.
that was brilliant.
It's a dual use, which at that point when you realize, because you see Inquisitor's lightsaber and then you see Ezra's, you're like, that's right. People that have the crystals to make lightsabers can customize it any way they want to.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be a saber.
Well, and then, by the way, that goes to expanded universe material. The original double-ended lightsaber was not from Phantom Menace. It was from Tales of the Jedi. That was an idea that was come up with by Kevin J. Anderson and whoever his artist was, because that's Exar Kun's lightsaber, is a double-ended lightsaber. Because Exar Kun is like, hey, you know what'd be more effective? Yeah, if I could hit you from the back, too. It's like, oh, right, I'm a Sith Lord. I'm awesome. And in more expanded universe stuff, they have other variants of the lightsaber. There's a person who has a whip version of it, short swords, daggers,
Whee!
kind of like a wider beamed, not quite broadsword, but a long, broader energy beam. So there have been
And of
people in
course,
expanded
Jared, the
universe-
trailer
Mhm.
with
The
the
three
Oh,
con-
yeah.
oh yeah, with the hilt,
crossbar. I love the crossbar. I'm like, that is brilliant.
the big
I'm gonna
old
chop off
broadsword.
hand. No, you're not. I will make sure my hand is like, I hate there's people freaking out like, that's not how that works. And I'm like, you're not a fan of the expanded universe.
I like
assure
how.
you. If
Also,
you can have
I like
energy
how
there,
there's that one episode of Stephen Colbert when that came out, he pretty much
Mhm.
explained it. It's like, what's there to say he doesn't use 3 crystals to have 3 different types of blades onto it?
you have to have different crystal combinations in there. I mean, that's saying a double-ended lightsaber would only require 1 crystal. No, it requires at least 2.
Yep.
There has to be 1 for each blade. It's probably it actually odds are it's probably 2 crystals. It's 1 crystal for the blade and then 1 crystal that diverts 2 directions to make the hilt. But as long as you have the Kyber crystals, you can customize your lights. I mean, and you have the technical know-how, you can customize your lightsaber however you want it. it's traditional for the Jedi to just have the standards,
Saber.
blade of the saber length. Yeah, that is their traditional weapon. They don't usually customize it because that would be kind of going against their code of like not showing off and what have you. But the Sith are always about that creativity and what have you, and it's one of those things that shows Ezra being a little more Sith than Jedi, but also how brilliant is that? Because he doesn't. Kanan always has to like hide his lightsaber somewhere because he's like, oh god, if someone sees it, they're gonna know I'm a Jedi, and they could call the Imperials. He can have that strapped on his belt, and they're gonna be like, that's a weird looking blaster. Whatever.
I like how Kaden just instantly took that and showed Ezra a way to use that lightsaber pistol combination.
I love that in the fights where he's just like backs off, pew pew pew.
Long range, close range, so that way he can keep his distance.
And I like Ezra's like, I never thought about doing that. And I'm like, I was like, yeah, you're right. I always thought of it as a camouflage kind of thing, and as a, so he has two weapons in one. But you're right. You have two weapons in one. Why not? It'd be like a gun sword from like Final Fantasy, but an actual functional one. This weapon is actually useful in combat, not strangely designed, so it'd be really awkward to wield.
Yep.
And by the way, that's one of those things, just like with the Inquisitor's spinny saber, where I'm like, you know what, creators of this show, you guys are thinking. You're not just sitting there recycling the same old crap. You're actually thinking of new and creative ways to make this universe more interesting, and thank you for that.
I like how with the Inquisitor be able to have it so that way it spins, and then you can just throw it and control it like a boomerang.
Yeah. Which was one of Kanan's badass moments where he just deflects it, and he's like, does yours do that? I'm just like, that was pretty badass, dude. You were getting your ass kicked the entire episode, but that one deflection has kind of earned you some bonus points back. I just deflected your really awesome weapon. Yeah. Old school training.
Yep.
But I loved how intimidating and how, like,
Thank you.
Insane might be the wrong word, but like, just I liked the Inquisitor as a character, and his fate in the last episode, I was just kind of like, no, I liked you. You were a good villain to have around.
Yep.
And I do like his warning of like, there's things more frightening than death, and I'm like, I like that warning thing, but I liked you. You were basically my replacement Star Killer, and you weren't as angsty, which is really nice, actually.
Yep.
Like, you gave me kind of what I wanted from Starkiller from those original artworks. I wanted him to be this, like, badass. I don't want to be some angsty guy who's like, I'm angsty. Angsty! Vader killed my father. And probably my mother. And a bunch of Wookiees, too. I guess that's bad. He committed massive amounts of genocide on numerous planets. Right. But my personal issues are more important here. Here's my hot, like, sidekick character who has a name, I guess. It's Juno Eclipse, you jackass. Right, because that's totally not a porn star name.
It is a porn name. I didn't realize. Oh, fuck!
No, Ramses got distracted.
No, I knew it was coming. I was like, oh, fuck.
Sorry.
Yeah, here it is, right there.
Sounds like like the porn star you would find in like some sort of like space movie or something. Like Spaceballs 2. If they're grabbing like Spaceballs, the porno movie. Like there's like, this is Spaceballs, a porno movie starring Juno Eclipse. It's just like, of course it is. Why wouldn't it be starring Juno Eclipse?
But yeah, then I just like to see how they're gonna go with season 2 for it.
Yeah.
Because they introduced Vader to it, so it's like, okay, so now what's gonna happen with Lothal and Vader?
Yeah, it's also like if they're introducing Vader, like how is he gonna be like the Inquisitor, where he's just gonna come out in certain appearances, or like?
I think they have to use him sparingly for really two reasons. One is he can't be undermined every episode like Grievous kind of was in Clone Wars, because it just makes him seem like a massively ineffective villain.
Oh yes.
Which Grievous was. Grievous was fucking pathetic at his job. And I mean, granted, the Jedi were too, because killing Grievous is really simple. Because you can tear his arms off like a bug because you have the Force and he doesn't. So, you rip off all 4 of his arms and suddenly he's no longer a threat. Or, if you just want to go a little bit dark side, just crush his throat real quick. Just saying, like,
Well,
He's
it
like
worked for
Cyborg, you know?
yeah. It's like it worked for someone.
It's like rather than the BS of Obi-Wan eventually just shooting him, but again, it's the same thing. He had to chop off his arms. I'm like, right, but you have the Force. You can just pull them off. He's a fucking robot or a cyborg, whatever. It's not. Dumb Jedi are dumb. Your order deserved to be wiped out. You guys are too fucking stupid to live. But my issues with Grievous aside, my point being, the villain never seems like a really effective villain if they're getting thwarted all the time. Like Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget. None of us were intimidated by Dr. Claw.
Cobra
because a
Commander.
girl and her dog could outthink him.
Yeah.
Cobra Commander, another great example. But at least he was taking. It looks G.I. Joe needed a team to thwart Cobra Commander. But so you don't seem like a real threat to anyone if you constantly get your ass kicked. And they can't do that with Vader because I think the whole point of like the comics is Vader was a badass, someone to be feared. And probably the only thing that changed Vader from being such a badass was learning that his son was alive.
Yep.
So during the time when he's like, my wife is dead, my son is dead, I hate everyone, he should be badass. And so you can't have Vader in there like, those rebels have thwarted me yet again. Brah, I'll get you next time, rebels. You know, it's just, no. But if you have him show up and just kick Kanan's ass, that I'd be fine with that. And if Kanan go, oh crap, you're that guy.
I think, and this is gonna be me thinking, it's gonna be, Vader and what's her name again, fighting it off at the end